Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm going to show you how to install a Cobra 29LX CB radio in a Peterbilt 579 company truck. The new company trucks like mine come factory ready with all the stuff it needs. All you need to do is buy a CB radio and plug it in, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to show you what you can look for to see if your truck is CB radio ready. Basically, you're looking for an antenna that's already installed. Some trucks might have the antenna installed right here on the mirror or possibly up on the top. Some trucks might have the antenna up here above your driver's side and passenger side door. My truck has it installed back here on the back of the cab. So for the most part, if you look around your truck and you find an antenna or multiple antennas in one of those locations, your truck is most likely already set up for a CB radio. All you have to do is go in the truck stop and buy any CB radio, and you should be able to easily install it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the Cobra 29LX CB radio. All the CB radios that you buy in the truck stop, they'll come with a microphone, and they'll come with this wire that you'll use to plug into the truck. One end of the wire will look like this, and this is the end that will plug into the back of the CB radio. The other end will have exposed wires like this. One will be red and one will be black, and this is the end that will plug into the truck. And don't worry, I'll show you what to do with this end. For right now, this end, don't plug it into the CB radio yet. Just let it hang down and be loose. We're not going to plug it in yet because it'll make the rest of it easier. Make sure that your key is in the off position so you can put your key in and out. You can leave the key out if you want. I'm just going to leave it here. You want it to be off. The place where you install your CB radio is you sit in your driver's seat and look straight forward, and then when you look up, there'll be this panel up here. You have to remove this panel, and your CB radio will actually go in this spot right here. Yours might be a little bit difficult to pull off if you have a brand new truck, but after the first time or two, it'll be kind of easy. It just kind of pulls off like this. Mine comes off really easy. And I actually ended up breaking one of my plastic pieces here. So don't worry if that happens to you, just maybe be more gentle than what I am. When I pull that panel off, I have this little unit right here. You might have it, you might not, but we want to move this out. You have to take off this Velcro strap. I already have it removed. And you have to pull this out because the place where we plug in that wire is going to be behind this. When you take this end of this wire, you'll see there's one wire is mostly black and the other wire is mostly red. Now when I put these down, you'll see when I go back here, I have a light shining on. There's a panel, there's two terminals back here. One is red in the back and one is black. You want to take this red end and go in from the side so it's touching metal. There's actually metal, the red part is actually plastic in the black part, so you don't want to be touching those parts like this. This won't work. You want to go in through the side and there's metal back there. And then when that's in there, you want to screw this in righty-tighty so that it screws all the way in until you can't do it anymore. It's hard for me to do with one hand, but that's what you have to do. You want the red side to touch the red side, and you want the black side to be touching the black side. You don't want them to be touching each other. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. You see here, I have the red cable touching the red terminal and the mostly black cable touching the black terminal. You want to make sure it's touching the metal on the inside, and you want to make sure it's tight. Now I can move this cable over to this side because that's where the CB will be installed, and I can put this back in where it was. Now over here, there should be 3 cables. You just installed this one. This one is hanging loose that you just installed in those 2 terminals. You have this one, that's for the antenna. And you have this one, that's for the speaker. The antenna and the speaker should already be pre-installed in here and just waiting for you to pull them out. Now we have 3 wires to plug into the back of the CB radio. Power, antenna, speaker. When you look at the back of your CB radio, the antenna will go right here. The power will go right here. It only goes in one way. And the speaker is going to EXTSP. That's for external speaker. PA speaker is for if you have another speaker like for example, police, when they talk on their intercom and say pull over, it's outside their vehicle. That's what that's for. But you want external speaker. When you're plugging the antenna into the back of the CB radio, it's very important it has a secure connection. And what I like to do, I can only do this with one hand because I'm holding the camera. I plug it in, and you plug it in, push it in, hold it in with one hand, and then screw it with the other. You want to make sure that is constantly putting pressure on that so it's always staying in. If you just kind of throw this on here and then screw it on real quick, it's possible that the screw can be tight, but this could not have a good connection. See, it's possible it could be loose even though the screw is on there. So you want to make sure that's a nice secure connection. That's very, very important when you plug in the antenna. This is what the back of your CB will look like when it's all plugged in. You'll have that screwed into the antenna, a nice secure connection. The power cable will be plugged in all the way, and your speaker will be plugged into that right side that says EXT-SP for external speaker. That's what it all looks like. Now that all my wires are plugged in, I can go ahead and install the CB radio into this area. If you have big arms like me, then getting that Velcro strap to Velcro around your CB radio to hold it in place is kind of frustrating because you don't have a lot of room to get your hand in here. So I mean, it's up to you to figure out the best way to do that, but that's one of the most annoying parts about this. I usually put the microphone on. I'll screw it in here first before I put the panel on because it's easier to get your hands in here to screw the microphone on. So what I'll do is I'll take the microphone cable and I'll put it through this hole first, and then I'll move it up to the CB radio. When you're plugging the microphone in, there's only one way to plug it in. You'll see there's four holes in the microphone end, and you'll see a little notch. There's also a notch over here, and they'll match up, and there's only one proper way to plug that microphone in. The microphone is the same as the antenna. You want to make sure you're putting pressure on that and holding it in, because it's possible that you can screw this and it'll be tight, but this won't be tight. So you want to make sure you have a good secure connection on your microphone. Finish screwing that in. Make sure it's tight, make sure this is not moving. That's good, it's secure. Our microphone is installed. Now I can put this panel back on just by pushing it up there, pressing it in, and you might want to pull out your CB radio a little bit to get it flush. Careful, you might pull off your button. But try to get it flush if you prefer that way. Once that's in, you can hang up your microphone right there in the clip. Now we're ready to turn the truck on. You can turn your key to the left or right, either one works. I'm just going to turn mine to the left to provide power to the CB radio. Once the truck is powered on, you can turn on the CB radio by using this right here. There's actually two things you can turn here. There's the small one, the inner one, and there's the outer one. To turn on power, you turn the inner one, the little one right here, clockwise, and now the CB radio is on. You don't want to press this and transmit yet because we have to calibrate the CB radio. If we don't calibrate it first, it's possible you could do damage to your electronics if you transmit while the CB radio is not calibrated. So let's calibrate it real quick. Just for the sake of everyone being the same, let's make sure all of our knobs on here are the same for all of us. So this is what I do. This little one that turned it on, if you turn it all the way to the left, it clicks and it turns off. And then turn it to the right, clicks and it turns it on. It's also the volume. So the farther you turn it, the louder it is. So I just like to go all the way to the left, but leave it on so the volume's down. I just don't want the sound bothering me right now. Our squelch is the big one. Don't worry about what the squelch is. We're just gonna make all of our knobs the same right now, and I'll explain it in a different video. But our squelch, the big one, we're gonna go all the way to the left, counterclockwise as far as it'll go. The dynamic, you'll see the little red, there's a little red dot. We'll just go straight up at 12 o'clock. This one, you can't, it's an electronic menu, so it doesn't really matter where that's located. RF gain, we're gonna go to 12 o'clock with that red dot. So the dot is up. Delta tune, also 12 o'clock with the red dot. Talkback, the outer one, we're gonna go all the way counterclockwise. And SWR calibrate, I guess we'll make that one 12 o'clock too, but we're gonna be using that to adjust our calibration. Basically what we're doing when we calibrate is we're calibrating the radio to the antenna. The length, the electrical length of the antenna is what we're calibrating. So that's really important. You have to calibrate to every antenna that you install onto this CB radio. And what you want to do is calibrate the lowest channel and the highest channel. So we're going to start by turning this knob. You can change the channel. You see this, it says 19, 18, 17, 16. You're going to go all the way down to 1. So we're on channel 1. Now over here to the left of the screen, you'll see these two silver buttons. I can press it down. One says NB/ANL and one says S/RF, and underneath it, it says SWR/calibrate. And you'll see on the menu here, you'll see NB/ANL. Yours might not say NB/ANL. It might be off, so it doesn't really matter. You just turn it on and off by pressing this top button over here. You see it turns off, then it turns ANL, then it turns NB/ANL. So let's go to NB/ANL so we're all the same. Again, you just do that by pressing this button. You just keep pressing it over and over, and it'll keep changing the settings. So we'll go to NB/ANL so we're all on the same page. Now to calibrate, we're on channel 1. We're calibrating the lowest channel and the highest channel. The lowest channel is channel 1. We're already there. And we get to the calibration mode by pressing this other silver button. Now you'll see under where it says NB/ANL, it says S/RF. And if you press this button, it will change the mode. It changes to SWR. And you press it again, and it changes to calibrate. You can just keep pressing that button, and it'll cycle through those 3 options. So we want it to be on calibrate. Now that we're on calibrate and we're on channel 1, we're going to use this knob all the way to the right to calibrate our antenna. We're going to do that by going to our microphone, and we're going to hold this down. We're going to key the mic, and watch what happens when I key the mic on this bar graph right here. I press the button, and you'll see that lights up. If I let go of the button, it goes away. If I hold it, it shows up. Let go, it goes away. What I want to do is hold down this button so I can see that bar, and I'm going to use there's 2 knobs right here, the inner one, the small one, and the outer one, the big one. I'm going to turn the outer one. Previously in the video I said we're going to use the small one, but I was wrong. We're going to use the big one. The outer one is the SWR calibration. So I'm going to look at this bar. I'm going to key the mic while I see that bar on there. So I'm going to try and do this with one hand. I'm going to hold the camera while also holding this button down. Key the mic. Now I'm going to turn this knob way down here. I'm going to turn this knob, the outer one, and as I turn it counterclockwise, you'll see that kind of goes away. And what I'm looking for is I want the edge of that bar to line up where it says calibrate. All the way over here on the right side, you'll see cal. There's like a little section that's notched out right there. We want to align that bar where it says calibrate. And I'm going to do that by turning this outer knob. So turn it, get it as close as you can. I'm going to do it without talking, because when you talk, it kind of adjusts it. So watch this. There. So now when I let go, it goes away. When I hold it, it goes straight to calibrate. That's what I want. Now to check the SWR, you want the SWR to be between where it says SWR and 1.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to key the mic. I'm going to hold it. And while I'm holding the mic button down, I'm going to press this button right here and change it to SWR mode. I take that back. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let go of the microphone, and now I'm going to change it to SWR mode. And now I'm going to press the microphone button in again and watch that bar. You'll see it, the bar appears again, but it's very low. It's between SWR and 1.5. That's very good. You want that bar to be below 1, well, you want it to be below 2. The lower, the better. So while I'm in SWR mode, again, hold down the key button, and you're looking for that bar to be as low as possible. What we're at right now is very good. So now we have channel 1 calibrated. So now we need to calibrate channel 40. So I'm going to take this knob and go down. You don't have to go all the way up to 40. You can just go down. Now I'm at 40. So to calibrate this channel, again, I'm going to press this button until I get to calibrate mode. So I'm in calibrate mode. And again, I'm going to hold down the button on the microphone. And without talking, I'm going to adjust this calibration so it goes to calibrate. If I do counterclockwise, watch what happens. It gets lower and lower. So when I go clockwise, it'll adjust it back up, but I'm going to do it without talking. Now you want it just like that. You want it to be at the calibration point. So I let go of the mic and that disappears. Now I'm going to test the calibration again on channel 40 by pressing this button and going to SWR. So now I'm in SWR mode, and this tests the calibration on channel 40. I'm going to hold down the button on the mic and watch what happens. Again, it's very low. That's exactly what we want. Let go, hold it. Let go, hold it. And that's exactly what we want, very low SWR. We've completed calibrating and testing on both channel 1 and channel 40. So now I'm going to go to channel 19, because channel 19 is where most of the truckers hang out. This is pretty much where everyone talks. Since my calibration was good, we're okay to transmit now, because we know our antenna is properly transmitted, so there shouldn't be any electrical damage or anything that happens when we transmit. So in order to go live on the air, we're gonna hit this little silver button until that mode changes to S/RF. That means we're sending and receiving radio frequencies. We're not actually, no one can hear me talking right now because I'm not holding down the button, but if anyone talks, we should be able to hear them because we're live on the air right now, because it's in S/RF mode. I do have to point out that when you're in SWF mode, when you're in this mode, sorry, SWR mode, if you test this and your SWR is high, let's key the mic, and you'll see our SWR is low. If you are above 2, then you have to do some research and you don't want to transmit. If that's above 2, and then you go over here to S/RF and you start pressing this button and transmitting, that means you're actually sending power outside the antenna, and you could actually do damage if the SWR is above 2. But since ours is very low, we're okay. So we're okay to transmit. So again, to be live on the air, we want this to be on S/RF, and we're on channel 19. So our radio is all calibrated and ready to go. Now, so our radio is on a proper setting so that we can hear and transmit properly, so we can hear as much as possible. This is what you're gonna do. Your volume, you want to make sure your volume is at something decent. Your squelch, this is how you set your squelch. What the squelch does is it kind of eliminates, if you turn the squelch all the way down and turn your volume up, I'll turn my RF gain up too. You see, you hear everything. You hear every little sound. So to stop it from doing that to you all day, you want to get rid of all that noise so that you just don't hear anything unless someone talks. So the squelch, how you set it is you go all the way down as far as it'll go counterclockwise, and then you turn it clockwise slowly until that sound goes away. See, the sound goes away, so your squelch is properly set. What this RF gain knob does is it takes your signals that are incoming and increases the power of the incoming signal. So it's possible if you increase the RF gain, you can blow past that squelch. So you want your RF gain, what I do is I take my RF gain and I put it up at 12 o'clock. Just like that, so it's like an average setting. Now you go to your squelch and you want to go till you can hear that sound, hear all the background noise. See, it's all the way down, but nothing's getting, if I turn the volume up, you can hear it. You sort of hear the weather channel right now. But if I turn up the RF gain, it'll make the signal stronger that's coming in. And it blows through that squelch. So now to adjust the squelch, you just go up a little bit. And now it turns off all that background noise, and now you should just be able to hear someone talk. Our squelch is properly set. We're calibrated, and we're on channel 19. So let's see if anyone can hear us. Let's do a radio check. You hold the microphone 6 to 12 inches away from your face. Radio check.
It's working.
And we got a response. So our radio is properly set up. If you got this far and you can't hear anyone, it's possible that maybe no one is just listening to the CB radio, or I just want to show you some settings. Just if you can't hear anyone, if you're getting frustrated, it doesn't mean you're not set up properly. So to make sure you can hear as much as possible, you start with your squelch all the way down, and your RF gain maybe a little bit. You could start with it all the way up if you want. So then you hear the most amount of noise possible. So to get rid of the background noise, you turn up the squelch until it goes away. And right now you should be set to hear as much signal as possible. So if someone's gonna say something, you can hear it. Also make sure your volume is turned up to something where you can hear the incoming signals. I'm gonna turn this back to 12 o'clock just because that's where I like it. And I'm gonna adjust my squelch all the way down. And all the way down is all the way open, and I still can't hear anything. So I'm going to turn my RF gain a little bit up. Now I can hear stuff. Static. So now I can adjust my squelch until I can't hear anything, and I can't hear anything. So this is the Cobra 29 LX setup in a Peterbilt 579. I hope that helped you. If it did, please like the video. Thank you so much for watching. You have a great day.